Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I am back to talk about The Flash. This time, episode 301, titled Flashpoint, which premiered Tuesday, October 4th, 2016 on the CW. And now, guys, spoiler alert for sure, but I'm going to talk about episode, my thoughts and theories about what's to come out of what we just learned from today. So a disclaimer on the fact that I only own my own thoughts and opinions for obvious reasons. Any photos used in the video that I edit are not my own, unless it actually includes me in the photo. Then there's that as well. I'm not making this for any money whatsoever, so I want to get all that out of the way as well. And yeah, so I'm going to do this in 10 minutes, and let's see what comes out. So starting now, so what is something that we learned in 301? Pretty much when we last left season 2, Barry really changed the timeline by saving his mom from the Reverse Flash. Now, because of that, he has been living in what is called Flashpoint, and he has been doing so for 3 months. And he's living a great life, happy life, with both of his parents alive and in love with each other and living in his old childhood home. However, Barry soon starts to realize that the more he uses his speed, the more of his memories from the original timeline are being erased from his head. So, don't know why he's suddenly experiencing it 3 months later, but he now does so. So now he has to decide whether or not he wants to keep living out this blissful life that he is living in right now without his speed, because eventually he's not going to have that, or he has to go back and reset the timeline so he can still remain with his speed intact. So there's that. Also, in this new timeline, we get Wally being the Flash. Everyone keeps calling him the Kid Flash, though, despite him saying he's the Flash. And we learn that he got this because he was working on a new formula for his engine, and he was racing down on a street during a storm, and the lightning hit his car, and it reacted with the new engine. It's just how he got his speed after being in a coma for 9 months. Kind of very similar to how Barry originally got his speed, but that's how that is. And he is working pretty much in a crime-fighting duo with Iris, who is a reporter, who wanted to make a difference, and she does that by helping her brother out. However, their father, Joe, is not like the Joe we are used to. He is actually a drunk cop that really doesn't have any relationship with either Joe or either Wally or Iris. So he has no idea that Wally is the Flash, or Kid Flash. So there's that. We see him at times missing work, Barry trying to cover for him, and all that. So things aren't really going so well in the West family like we are used to this past season. Now, moving on to other members of the original Flash team, we get Cisco, who is now a billionaire because of his tech apps, and he has bought out what was Star Labs. So there is that, which is surprising. He's definitely loving it and making the most of it from the looks of it. And Caitlin is an eye doctor for kids. So she's not a scientist. She even makes it very clear of that. But she does seem to know patterns like she used to with figuring out what possible ways. She actually figured out how to track down the villain of the episode, which I'll get to in a moment. So then there is Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. We see him in this glass cage of his for 3 months. It has dampened his speed, but he's not affected by the whole memory wipe thing because of the fact that his speed has been dampened, the fact that he can't use it while in the cage. So there's that. And somehow later, when he does reset the timeline, it turns out he survives that reset, since he was able to return Barry back to the time where he supposedly took off from, which was shortly after Henry died. So I'll bring that up later. Questions for sure. But let's move on to the villain of the episode. His name was the Rival, aka Edward Claris. And he is the speedster in black we kept on seeing in the promos for season 3. And we see him being the big enemy for Kid Flash, only to be thwarted by Barry being the Flash and showing his true capabilities and all that. So, but he is seen again in the reset timeline, which I didn't expect at all. But Edward is shown be waken up in the middle of the night by this voice telling him that it is time for him to be awoken, as if it's time for a part of him to realize his destiny, or not realize his true calling, I guess you can call it. It kind of reminded me of like the darkness in Zoom saying, like that part of him, like it kind of reminded me of that saying like it's time for that part inside of you to be awakened. So anyways, this voice somehow causes scratches to appear on a mirror in the form of Alchemy, the name. So don't know if Alchemy is supposed to be who the voice is, or if Alchemy is who Edward is supposed to turn into, courtesy of this voice. So I guess we'll find out more about that later. But moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode I found was the fact that Barry didn't reset the timeline properly. Yes, he got his mom killed again, but by doing that, he still lost his parents. We know that. Wally is still alive. But now apparently Joe and Iris don't talk anymore. For a moment there, I thought they were going to say that Iris had been killed just by Joe's reaction to it, saying that don't go there and all that. But yeah, apparently timeline wasn't reset properly, so that pretty much surprised me a lot. Moving on. Top 3 favorite moments. Again, first favorite moment has to be the moment where Barry sees billionaire Cisco for the first time, and he's actually trying to convince him that they should team up. What I really liked about this moment is when Barry brings up the story that Cisco once told Barry in the original timeline about how he helped his brother Dante pay off a bookie that he owed by giving him all the money that he had earned that summer. And you could just tell by billionaire Cisco's reaction that no one knew of that story. So I really like that connection. I really liked how that seemed to be the moment, like, okay, maybe you're onto something, or maybe you do know something that you shouldn't know, but yet it seems like only I could tell you type thing. I just really liked it, so it was just great to see that moment. Second favorite moment has to be Iris feeling like there is something more between her and Barry. She says it even after realizing that there is this other timeline. When everyone else is doubting Barry's claims of creating Flashpoint and creating their timeline right now, instead of it being always that timeline, Iris feels like, yes, something's always been off. It's only when I've finally met you in this timeline did it start to feel correct again. And it was great to hear from her, just even for her, the little things were off. Something didn't, it's like something's wrong, but you can't pinpoint where that feeling is coming from. And yet the moment that one piece clicks for you, that's it. You know that everything feels right again. I really like how she brought it up. I really like how she knew that she's always connected to Barry. It's just how they're connected or how is what is important. So yeah, I really like that conversation between them. Even when she asks Barry what they are in his original timeline, he says it's not something you can define, but she recognizes it as a form of love. So it was just great moment for sure. And once again, they keep kissing before time has to reset itself. So it's like, when are they going to stop doing that for West Allen fans? You get the kiss, and then only for him to go back in time moments later to erase the kiss from his existing. It's like, really? Anyways, I'll get off of that. Third favorite moment, though, has to be the twin tornado move that was pulled, and how Barry was able to defeat that move, and then how impressed the rival was by how he even said that that's impossible. And I really like that. It was just showed that despite him losing his memories as the Flash, Barry can still pull off being the Flash, kind of like muscle memory type thing. That's how I'm thinking of it anyways. So moving on to top 3 peeved moments. I only had the one peeve, and that was the fact that the Reverse Flash is still alive after the timeline was quote-unquote reset. Because pretty much with the Reverse Flash being alive and yet both his parents being dead, that pretty much erased the whole defeat that we experienced with our season 1 villain being the Reverse Flash. I just feel like, okay, we can just pretty much disregard any major villain fight that took place in season 1 because he's still alive. He's now another bad guy they have to deal with again. It's like reusing an old villain again. Just saying. What will I remember most about this episode? And there is the timer, but I'll be very quick. The fact that it's the alternate universe through Flashpoint. That I'm definitely going to remember for sure. Moving on, random questions though. Since the Reverse Flash is still alive, from the looks of it, is it possible that Eddie Thawne is still alive? Because the whole reason why the Reverse Flash died in the season 1 finale was because Eddie Thawne killed himself, since he was the ancestor of the Reverse Flash. But if the Reverse Flash is still alive, is it possible that Eddie is alive? And if the timeline has changed even further in this reset, is it possible that he is now married to Iris? Don't know. It would be great to see Eddie again, just to see how he fits in, and then that's going to cause even more complexities in Barry's situation, not just on a romantic level. Next question: how could a minute difference in when Nora was killed, or in the time that Nora was killed, how could that change the present-day relationship between Joe and Iris? I really don't get how that much of a difference could make such a change to in the present day. Since technically she still died, Barry still ended up going with the family, and like nothing. I don't know. I really don't know. Please, if you have an answer for that, let me know in the comments down below. Also, last question. In order for the timeline to be correctly reset to what it was by the season 2 finale, before he messed it up, do you think that Barry has to go back to that night to stop his season 2 finale self from interfering so that the original death could happen like it was supposed to? I mean, how many times do we have to see that moment in time so many times already? I have no clue. Anyways, predictions very quickly before it gets too long of a video. But based off the promo that I checked on YouTube for, Felicity appears. And so that's great. See how things affect her, or how much it affects her. But she even asked the questions of what's changed. So there's that. We also see that Iris and Cisco are in very different places than where we last left them in the season 2 finale. Also, apparently someone doesn't like Barry, possibly the rival, as in the villain, or it could be someone that we've never met before who just doesn't like Barry, which I think is going to be new character Julian, and Julian's actually mentioned in the synopsis, which reads, Barry realizes the effects from Flashpoint are much greater than he thought. Meanwhile, Barry meets new co-worker Julian Albert, played by Tom Felton, and is surprised by Julian's immediate disdain for Barry. So maybe the whole person doesn't like him alluded in the promo is actually heading toward Julian. So I guess we'll find out about that. But hopefully in this next episode, we'll maybe find out what is actually part of this timeline and what's changed from the original timeline. Because now I'm wondering, okay, what from season 1 and season 2 still happened to this timeline number 3, I'm going to call it. Timeline number 2, I'm going to say it's Flashpoint. Timeline number 3, I'm going to call it as the whole estrangement between Joe and Iris. So there's that. New questions though. In this timeline number 3, is Barry still going to experience memory lapses like he did in Flashpoint timeline? Are we going to see Kid Flash again? Because as you remember, while he was hit by the dark matter during the second particle explosion? Or did that not happen in this timeline number 3, like I mentioned before? And also, is Earth 2 affected by all this Flashpoint craziness? Because technically it shouldn't be, since it's a separate world and all, but the moment Barry intervened has me questioning whether or not Earth 2 is affected by Barry's Flashpoint on Earth 1. I don't know. That's all the questions I have, guys. But also, just a reminder, I recorded this video before watching any other outside sources to influence my thoughts about it. After I've only seen the episode once. So that's all from what I was able to pick up from it. So, it's usually how I do the videos. I only watch the episodes once and all that. But yeah, so what did you guys think of the premiere? What did you like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you consider ourselves to be still within Flashpoint at this point? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about what you think is going to come in this season. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. I'm hoping to get everything back on track now that everything is coming back to schedule. So hopefully you'll see more of me on time. But also don't forget to check me out on Tumblr. A link for that will be down below. Follow me there if you like. I'll try to reblog a lot more of the shows and try and be more up to date with that. But I'm trying to figure out a better way to do it. But still check it out and be up to date with that stuff as well. Also check out my WordPress. Link for that will be down below. It links you to everything that I have, whether it's fan fiction, YouTube videos here, live journal accounts, or the Tumblr pages and their tags. So just follow me there if you want to check me out there. And yeah, that's about it. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel. Wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. And yeah, so bye guys.